Welcome back to the Stock Talk, folks. Joined today with Andy B here. We're going to be talking about this Oklahoma game. Feeling even more deflated somehow after last week, even though the majority of us came into this with the right expectations. And after the first two drives with both teams, stopped Oklahoma. We were like, oh shit, maybe this defense is back. And then we score on the first drive, up 7-0. And we're thinking, maybe we got this. Maybe something good's going to happen. And then right away, Dylan Gabriel breaks one open, exposes every issue we already thought on the defense right away. And they did nothing but get comfortable in Lincoln from there. And it was pretty awful. It was nothing to write home about. What you thinking, Andy?
I think we tried to keep our expectations where they should have been, but just by hanging out on Twitter, talking to other Husker fans, I think we did raise the bar a little bit too high. I also think Vegas, the line, kind of hyped us up to think we were going to perform a lot better than we really should. There's no reason we should have only been 10.5-point underdogs in this game. I mean, we're playing a top 10 team, and we're going to be fighting to make a 6-6 charity bowl. So I think the line kind of gave us some unnecessary hope. And I think just Husker fans in general, because we're so fun, we wanted to hype ourselves up and think we had a shot. So, we never had a chance to win this game. We wanted to say we did, but we didn't. I think it sucks for Mickey Joseph that this was his first game as head coach. Because how do you win this game on 5 days of being in charge? It just puts him in a tough spot.
Right.
But although Husker Nation is depressed because of another loss, I don't think we've given up on Mickey yet. We shouldn't, at least, if you have.
No.
He definitely had energy that Scott didn't have today, hyping the players up, actually giving a shit throughout the game was nice to see.
Right. Yeah.
So it did feel like a different football team as far as energy goes, but energy's not going to fix all the obvious problems. I also don't think there could be a better time going into a bye week, coming off a tough loss. The only thing Coach needs is time to really work stuff his way, and now he's got 2 weeks to do everything his way, clear these boys' minds, get ready for Indiana.
Yeah, definitely. And it helps with this whole Mickey Joseph thing that he was able to kind of set the tone right when he came in and saying, now that I'm the head coach, we're 0-0. And coming out of this Oklahoma game, I think that's going to be one of the main things that keeps these kids in it, is that, no, we're 0-1 with this coach. And we played a really good team. A team that is good enough. They look really good. First of all, hats off to Oklahoma. They look really good. Brent Venables seems like he's the real deal.
To me, they proved themselves as a top 10.
Seriously. And their offense is great, too. Hats off to them. They played great. But it's exciting now to kind of see what Mickey can do in the next couple of weeks. I mean, maybe this is a little bit farther on in our conversation, but it does suck that it wasn't close because I think that the only thing that was going to buy Mickey more time was us playing Oklahoma really tight and maybe letting Trev Alberts slow down a little bit on the coach search. But it's looking like, it's definitely going to be a switch at the end of the year because really there's so much time before we have to get these interviews rolling and stuff because they also have to let Mickey know if he's going to go or not. But yeah, we can save that for the end. But as far as the game goes, yeah, I mean, the defense was still bad. Nothing new there. And the offense is good at times. It looked like we were even really afraid early. And I think Casey got a little bit afraid. And so our offense just wasn't clicking. I remember there was one possession where it was 21-7 and we had our possession and we had a false start and then a sack, and then it was okay, that was our only chance to get back in this game. And we were talking about it in our group chat, that was the one shot, and then it was right back to them, and they scored again.
Right.
So there's not much to take away from this game, other than the fact that we're still not a great team, and just got to keep moving forward. And I mean, we're just not attached to good outcomes anymore. Our expectations are super low, and it's just kind of a trash season at this point.
It was just typical Husker football in the aspect that we script our first drive so well. We always do. I couldn't explain it, but our first drive, 99% of the time, goes very well. Mm-hmm. And we always start so strong because our scripted first drive is so well, and it only goes down from there. So I don't know how to fix that problem, but it just felt so typical to start the game so strong and then only downhill from there.
Yeah, that was wild. Like, who would have thought? After that first drive, I was like, damn, we're in this game. Here we go.
Oh, yeah.
And especially because right before that, we stopped Dylan Gabriel on his first drive. Like, oh shit, maybe our defense is back. Maybe Mickey is the answer, you know?
To be fair, our defense did play very good the first quarter. I think Dylan Gabriel was like 3 for 10 in the first quarter. I mean, our secondary was there. We were playing pretty good defense, but our soft zone really allowed him to kind of break open and run freely, and that's what they kind of exploited for the rest of the game.
Right.
And again, it comes down to playing 4 quarters of football. We always have that. We just don't do that ever.
Yeah, that was wild too. Coming out of half, and was it Trey with the fumble right off the rip?
Yep.
They had just gotten done showing like Mickey on the sideline all hyped and shit for the next half, and this player they transferred here from LSU with goes off right away and fumbles. That was like the icing on top. Like I literally stopped watching at that point. Went to the gym, watched the rest on my phone. Saw Purdy played pretty well. Like literally, I shut it off. Like I'm like we talked about it last week, and if you listened last week, like we're so detached now. Like it's not going to be a great season. Like nothing. When we win, it's going to be a freaking like a hoorah. Like it's going to go insane. Like that's going to go crazy. Like I still think we maybe beat Iowa at this point.
I do too, because Iowa's not good.
Us. Exactly, they're not good. Their offense is shit. They're probably going to underestimate us because we're bad too. But we also care because it's a Nebraska-Iowa game. So maybe we pull it out of our asses for that one. I mean, it's looking like – I mean, I don't have much more to say on the game. Like, you want to just kind of hop back into our record predictions again? Because every week we're switching it up.
Yeah, one thing I do want to touch on is Northwestern's loss today against Southern Illinois really just brought to light how bad Northwestern was. And, like, no, we didn't lose. We didn't lose a game to a Big Ten team that we should have won. Like, we should have killed those guys, and we lost.
Right, we didn't lose to a potential Big Ten West win. Or winning team.
It really made me realize, like, okay, yeah, getting rid of Scott Frost was definitely the right move. He was the problem, because you start off with a close loss like that, and you're like, damn, maybe that makes a difference in the whole season. No, when Northwestern is playing as shit as they are, and you lose that game, it's beyond momentum at that point. They were bad, we were worse. So,
yeah.
Now that Northwestern lost, I feel less bad about firing Frost, especially because at first I was like, damn, are they really going to end his career at Nebraska because of an opening game loss? No, Northwestern sucks. If anything, the Northwestern loss just made it more clear to me why we fired Frost, and I feel like it was the right move.
Definitely. Cam today, so y'all know Cam. Cam sent me a tweet on Twitter, and it was like Walter White walking away from the car at the end of Breaking Bad. Have you seen Breaking Bad?
No, but I know Walter.
What? Okay. Well, he walks away from this car at this gas station that he sets on fire, and he just like walks away in his like Heisenberg like moot way.
Yep.
And it like Cam sent it to me, and he was like, Frost with like his $15 million buyout, you know, seeing this dumpster fire go off behind him, he doesn't give a fuck. Just wild, just something crazy. Yeah, it's good that he's gone. As far as record again this year, I still think like we were talking about earlier, I think Iowa's a dub. I don't know why, I just think it is. They're going to underestimate us. Their defense is decent, but their offense is ass. And I think we beat Indiana and Illinois, and I think we still maybe pull off one of the more weird ones like Purdue or Minnesota. So I guess it is kind of similar to last week, but what are you thinking?
Yeah, mine didn't change much from last week. I still think we're going to get at least another 3 wins. Purdue played really terrible football today, so I feel better about beating those guys. I really think we beat Indiana next week. And so I tweeted something out on our Twitter last week about some hypothetical situation where really next week is where the madness begins. If Iowa loses to Rutgers, there's like 3 things that need to happen. But essentially over the next 2 weeks, as long as we beat Indiana, we still have the potential to be tied for first place in the Big Ten West.
No way.
After week 5. Yeah, because every other team in the Big Ten West that has played a conference game besides Northwestern, is 0-1 in conference. They're the only team that's won a game, and everyone in the Big Ten West has a really tough matchup the first 2 weeks. So if we beat Indiana, we'll be tied for second after week 4, and then if we beat, the Rutgers, then we'll be tied for first after week 5.
No way, that's insane.
I mean, think about it.
We're still gonna. You really think we're gonna make it that far? We're gonna lose to these teams, right?
I think we beat Indiana for sure. They're bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. If any.
Okay. I don't think Illinois is a dub.
Okay.
I think Illinois has looked decent. They have a good running back, and they play good, chippy football, and we don't. Our defense is not getting better. I think it's just obvious at this point. I don't know if the coaches are just turning it in. They don't care. We're not that solid. We don't have a good pass rush. Our D-line is ass.
Yeah, I don't know either.
What you thinking?
We're not going to get better this season.
No.
I just think the Big Ten is below average all around, and that's why we have the shot
in the West. In the West.
Yeah,
not in the East.
Yeah, in the West for sure.
Yeah.
But that just brings me happiness because it's like we might win a few games,
Yeah.
And it's if we can get scrappy, dude. Like it comes down. I think Indiana's bigger than a lot of people think because we beat Indiana. It's like, oh shit, we beat a Big Ten team. Then we travel to Rutgers and we beat Rutgers, and it's like, yo, okay, we're 3-3 now. Where's it go from here?
Sure.
If you're thinking we beat Iowa at the end of the year, that means we need to scrap 2 more wins together to make a bowl. Like,
okay, yeah. No, it's fair. Isn't Minnesota kind of? They're probably they're doing pretty well, right?
They're doing all right, but that one's in Lincoln this year, and we play them tight every year, regardless of how good we are or how good they are, or bad, vice versa.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a crazy time to be a fan as always in this division and for this team. Didn't expect anything more than what we got today. Disappointed on the season, but what can you do as a Husker fan at this point?
Yep, I'm disappointed. Disappointed. However, I just there couldn't be a better time for us to have a bye week. Like I can't get over that. Mickey just getting hired. Plays a really tough team, and everyone's like, oh, he's going to turn the program around against a top 10 team after 5 days. No, that's not how it works, but now we have 2 weeks to really put in the work and get ready for a sloppy Indiana team, and I think Indiana should have been the focus point from the jump, even though we had to give attention to Oklahoma because they're longtime rival, whatever. But I think
you almost hope that's their excuse. Like, oh, we were focused on Indiana.
Yeah, maybe.
That's why we were so bad. That's not the truth, but we'll never hear that. But, yeah.
Maybe, but if we can focus on Indiana and win, I think that game could turn our season around.
Okay, all right. I think a big thing today that was important is that all of these players were still pretty bought in. Did you listen to Miles Farmer's press conference?
I did not.
Dude, he was kind of chirping at the media. Not chirping, but he was like, y'all don't know what goes on in here. We practice hard. He was like, we haven't been tackling for the past 4 years. We've been just tagging off. Like he was very real and just kept saying, you guys aren't in these four walls. Like you don't know what's going on. And he kept saying that. It was really interesting. So he's still bought in. Vokalek's still bought in. I mean, everyone's still bought in, and everyone that's not, again, kind of like our thing last time, go. It's not helping us that you're staying. So it's an interesting time, and I mean I'm just excited to get a decent coach in here. I mean unless we keep Mickey because he does a good job the rest of the year. But man, I think we just need a decent coach, and these players would at least compete every year in the West.
Yeah.
Kind of when Frost came, we were all like, oh, he went 13-0 at UCF, like he's some crazy young coach that's gonna take over Alabama one day. Like, we were all like, oh, Nebraska's back in the national championship landscape in a few years because he's that good. We all thought he was that good. Now it's kind of like everyone's like, no, Nebraska's a really tough team to do well with. We'll have maybe one good season every 5. But these Big Ten West teams, we all kind of deal with the same issues. We don't get the recruits. And it usually just comes down to one team having a slightly better roster and playing better over the whole year. And we need a coach that gets that a coach that's very just hard nosed, like Matt Campbell or Luke Fickell, or Mickey again if he's great. But yeah, it's nice to kind of temper our expectations now for the future for Nebraska.
Definitely. There's no reason in the future we shouldn't be a top contender in the Big Ten West every year. Because, like you said, everyone does kind of struggle with recruiting in the West, but we should definitely win that battle every year just because of our rich football history.
Exactly.
So there's no reason we should be anywhere near the bottom, even anywhere near the middle. We should be in the top all the time. And touching on press conferences, Mickey had a really nice press conference as well. I mean, he still bought in. He, for the second week in a row, he's mentioned how many games there are, and he's like, that we still have 8 games left to focus on. Like, this season is not over. We're not throwing it away. We want to win these games. Like, we're not done. So it just feels really good to see that coming from a coach that believes in us. Because you could tell Frost just sat up there and felt sorry for himself and didn't care at all. And just to see a coach that's bought in, even though we're not doing good, it's like he wants it. The players want it from what we can tell. It's just like everyone's bought in. We just need to keep working hard. And if we keep playing in these, this week was a bad example, but if we keep playing in these one-score games, but everyone believes in it, a couple of these are bound to go our way.
For sure. All right, well, anything else you want to touch on, Andy?
No, kind of a really depressing week, but great time for the bye week, and I think it can only go up from here.
Yeah, not much you can really say. We kind of all expected this to happen. Obviously, this is more focused on the future, if Mickey's the guy. So hopefully y'all enjoyed. We'll definitely be coming out with something before the Indiana game, but we do have a bye week as we were talking about. So, we'll be sure to get this up and, let us know what you think. It's a tough time being a fan for this team, but, like anything good in life, it takes time. So with that, Husker Nation, hopefully you're riding with us too. So, yeah. All right.